Hello and welcome back to Proactive New York. I'm Christine Corrado. With me right now is Nader Pourhassan, CEO at CytoDyn. Nader, great to see you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Nader, lots to talk about today. Let's first talk about this note that Citron Research put out. This is a notorious short seller. They basically put out a note that said the SEC must immediately halt this stock promotion scheme, all about CytoDyn. What's your response to that?
So I must say that we don't address this type of false allegation, but because our legal team believed this false report has resulted in unusual market activity or price variation. Therefore, I have been asked to briefly mention some of the false statements in this document. In the first two sentences of this report, there were 6 false statements alone. Some of the many of these false statements included bashing Dr. Jacob Lalezari, who's a distinguished clinical trial key opinion leader involved in bringing many of life-saving products to the market. They talk about, in one hand, that we have not given all the data to the public. In the other hand, they say that we have too many press releases. Well, too many press releases about a product that can save lives in the time of pandemic, we believe is very appropriate. They also talk about New England Journal of Medicine publication and the results. They didn't even, they didn't even take enough time to just go down to the end of the report and look at the appendix and the immunological benefit of all the patients who received benefits. They talk about the information that is all false in regards to even our convertible financing that the company had already fully disclosed. And then they talk about zero scientific data. I mean, Dr. Citron Report from Montefiore, Dr. Otto Yang from UCLA, Dr. Nicholas Agresti, all of those physicians, well-known physicians, talk about this data. But for everybody's information, we have a shared drive at Amrex, our CRO. And when we did a licensing agreement, for example, they went through every bit of that shared drive, which has all the FDA communication, all the information about leronlimab, all the details. And after getting so impressed, they gave us an $87 million worth of milestone payments and a licensing agreement. This is what we do. We open that shared drive to whoever wants to see those data under NDA for certain reason, for example, licensing or buyout. Now, overall, I must say, we have an obligation to address and correct these unfounded rumors. And to this point, our legal team wanted me to make sure everyone has the information in regards to where to report these types of fraudulent report. And it is, a phone number is 866-96-FINRA. And the email is whistleblowers@finra.org. And the last thing I should say about this is, I've been privileged to be the CEO of CytoDyn for the last 8 years, which I'm very honored to be. In these 8 years, we have had a very clean record with SEC, with FINRA, and all of our FDA communication is immediately reported to the public, and we reported very honestly and correctly. But with that, we should get back to the main important business at hand, which is saving lives.
Kind of wanted to get an update on the latest with your 2 trials with severe patients and non-severe patients, those 2 separate trials.
Yeah, absolutely. We have been reached out to by big pharma and big major media to talk about this data as soon as it comes out. So there is a lot of anticipation for this data. Last Wednesday, a week from last Wednesday, we finished enrolling the 87 patient in the 75 patient CD10 trial. And today, that patient's data becomes 2 weeks. Now, all the hospitals who were involved in that trial must sign off. All the data must be entered. And once we get that all completed, we will lock the data and unblind the data and let the world know about the data. In regards to our critical patients for CD12, we now are about 120 patients enrolled. So we have quite a bit of data, and unfortunately, quite a bit of deaths have been reported as a serious adverse event at which we get to see. We don't see the data because it's blinded, but we get to see the serious adverse event. Now, we believe that we getting both of these data, one of them, hopefully we could do an interim analysis at some point if FDA allows us, and the CD10. If we get both of those data to FDA and if we get approval, the question is not how quickly we can get the approval, which we believe hopefully would be soon, but how can we distribute this product? To that effect, I'm very pleased to say that today, after this interview, most likely very soon after this interview, I will be signing our distribution agreement with a very well-known pharmaceutical, and I will be announcing that hopefully this week, if not Monday. But we are on track on all of these. We are moving forward, and there are few things that that we have done that it's been changed. It was a game changer, and this could be one of them.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing more about that distribution agreement. Similarly, you've just formed an agreement with the NIH in Mexico. When will you actually start clinical trials there?
So that trial is hopefully going to start very quickly. It's very similar to our CD12 critical population in ICU. And as soon as that trial initiates, we believe we could enroll 25 patients very quickly. Our 60 or 70 emergency IND data, which were anecdotal, was not accepted for approval in US, will be sent to Mexico. They want to look at that along with those 25 patients. They feel very solid about our safety of this product, so they just want to see if there is efficacy, and they believe they could get approval if we do show that. And we are hopefully initiating that trial very soon and let everybody know as soon as it does.
Seems like that is progressing along nicely. Can you kind of talk a bit about what's going on in the HIV realm of the company?
Well, there are a few things that brings tears to my eyes in this company. One of them was when patients, family members would call me, say, leronlimab just saved my family's life. But there's something else I'm about to tell everybody right now that really got me emotional. A few days ago, Dr. Scott Kelly and I had a meeting with Dr. Jonas Sasha, CytoDyn Senior Science Advisor. Dr. Sasha has been working on leronlimab HIV Cure project in animals for several years. He showed us the data, and he said because of that data, which will be published very soon, we believe that leronlimab can mimic the genetic mutation that results in loss of CCR5, thereby making HIV cure a possibility for any HIV patient who requires bone marrow transplant. Keep in mind, Timothy Brown, who his doctor is now wants to be on, we are talking to him about being in our scientific advisory board. Timothy Brown and second patient that were cured got bone marrow from Delta 32 patients. Dr. Jonas Sasha believes that leronlimab can be used during the bone marrow transplant and allow the patient think that there is no CCR5, therefore will get HIV cure. There are patients with HIV, about 10% or so, or maybe 15% that do get cancer, AML or MDS that will need bone marrow transplant. We are now going to give leronlimab to a handful of patients who are HIV and need bone marrow transplant. We have identified 2 patients, and very soon leronlimab will be tested for the first HIV cure in those 2 patients, and we will ask FDA for emergency IND. If those 2 patients are cured from HIV, it will be worldwide news, and we will file for breakthrough designation immediately with FDA for the subpopulation of HIV. Now that was something that Dr. Jonas Sasha has worked on for several years, and the results show that that is possible.
There's a lot of information here for investors to digest, and we will definitely follow the story for everyone. Nader, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.